Dear colleagues, we continue our working day at Ukraine Crisis Media Center, and the topic of the next press briefing is presidential elections in the USA, threats and challenges for Ukraine. Mykola Vorobiov, director of the Center for Eastern European Perspectives in Washington, is given the floor. And good afternoon, dear audience, all those who follow us online on Facebook. Today we'd like to speak about challenges and threats to the world and to Ukraine, and also about the events in the United States. So the nominees such as Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, the main candidates of US elections, and this day Petro Poroshenko is in New York now, and it is not known whether he will be in Washington, but we hope that he will have time to travel there. And Donald Trump is 45 and 6 and 46 percent to the advantage of Donald Trump, so he can become a president. Of course, there are many jokes about it, but in November 2015, people believed that this is a joke, that he will be the nominee for presidency, but then people understood that he will be the nominee from the Republicans, and his addresses raise concerns. He has a good attitude to Russia. He expressed it in Cleveland, and his people said that they should just continue the sanctions against Russia, and they didn't mention the issue of providing weapons to Ukraine, and this program is not obligatory for implementation. And of course, when the politicians are elected, so they can change their attitudes to this. So in August, the Ukrainian issue was one of the major topics in topics for discussion, and after there was a declaration of the nominee from Republicans that the U.S. should not support NATO members. The members of NATO should pay for the presence of American troops in the European continent and in South Korea and in other states, that the countries should pay for this. Not they should pay to the budget of the United States. Otherwise, according to the words of the candidate, United States can leave, and but this contradicts NATO doctrine and international agreements with the U.S. Also, there were some declarations and some good attitude to Putin, and also Russian special services had some information about letters of Hillary Clinton and other information, and he said that they have information about letters of Hillary Clinton when she was a Secretary of State, and they can share this information, and this is unprecedented. And so the candidate appealed to the aggressor to win over other nominees, and this raises concern. As to the team of Trump, the situation is difficult. We know that Manafort was fired, but they continued to communicate unofficially. He was the head of election campaign headquarters of Trump, and they continued to communicate unofficially with the team of the candidate. And this person, Manafort, worked with Yanukovych for a long time and then with the opposition bloc. And according to some information, he got cash, and that is prohibited by US legislation because taxes were not paid. Paul Manafort was fired after the scandal from the top position in presidential campaign. General Michael Flynn expressed his opinion many times that US should reduce their military presence, and also he attended Russia Today channel. There is a photo of celebrations of anniversary of creation of Russia Today in the West, and this general was seen at this event. One more personality page. He is a businessman, and he has some shares in Russian Gazprom, and a month ago he said that Putin is stronger and more foreseeable president than Barack Obama, and he believes that they should improve relationship with Russian Federation, but it's not understandable what is the strategy, how to do this. So, not to support any parties. Before we speak about the Democratic Party, good forecast for Trump presidency is the status quo sanctions against Russia. Also, deterioration of relationship between Trump and Putin. Putin was attended the rancho of Bush, but the situation now can deteriorate because Trump and Putin, they have their geopolitical ambitions, and also pessimistic scenario for Ukraine that we won't get military support, but the contingent will increase in the at the eastern border of NATO, Poland, Baltic states, and Romania. So this is the scenario. Also, we should say that in American democracy, they cannot usurp power. There is Congress, there is check and balances, there are some think tanks, people and institutions who influence politics, but the president has the monopoly on foreign policy, as we see now when the Congress votes the last day for the support of military help to Ukraine, but the last word remains with the president. So we should pay attention to the person who will become president. As to Hillary Clinton, the situation is like this. So inside US, there are many questions to her. When she was the Secretary of State, she had some correspondence. Also, there were some corruption issues in Clinton Foundation. There was a conflict of interests. Her husband attended some meetings when she was this Secretary of State, and he got some money for these meetings. Also, there was no reaction on the attack of Benghazi, the American office there. So the use of personal emails and that can be if you use your personal email, it's easy to get access there, and the special intelligence services of other states can interfere. So electors have many questions to this candidate. Hillary Clinton was one of co-authors of the reloading the relationship with Russia. They took photo with Lavrov. There was a special button. It was reloading, and they there was a fault in translation. It was like in a Freud series. So the strategy failed. Hillary Clinton, she has experience in international relationship, and she understands the problems of escalation with Russia. And in our opinion, maybe if Clinton becomes president, maybe she will provide weapons to Ukraine and strengthen the sanctions against Russia and continue the sanctions from 1st January 2017. Also, Clinton team, we see that after elections, as minimum, from 10 to 15,000 places of employment will be vacant because the staff of the White House is renewed 80% because of elections. And I spoke with the future team from Democratic and Republican parties, and so Clinton has many good experts in her team who understand the situation and know how to act. So maybe it is in the interest of Ukraine to support this candidate. But I personally have Republican views. What Ukraine should do, what other countries do, in order to promote the image of the state. Our rhetoric remains the same for 2 years. Firstly, this is promotion and lobbying the interests of Ukraine at the level of Congress and think tanks. On official level, events, and here there should be 2 directions. First, the issue concerning implementation of those obligations that were undertaken by the US, Budapest Memorandum, Ukraine Freedom Support Act, that was supported by the Congress, and also the implementation of obligations that were tabled, and the president reviewed them, and also, of course, there are some delays, and many things had to be done during Obama administration. Also, strategy how to solve conflict and to find alternative ways, because many politicians in Washington, they try to understand, who come to Washington, they just want to hear their opinion, how to resolve the conflict in Donbass. So we can do it through think tanks, through the media, who cover the issues of Eastern Europe, including Ukraine. The issue about Ukraine is not so acute as before. The most important thing in the US media is presidential elections, but for the nominees, it is important to provide their views, their strategy on Ukraine. And I have information that such countries as Turkey, Georgia, and even Russia, they deal with these issues a lot in order to simplify the work of their American colleagues. They developed a strategy and try by different ways to lobby their interests including that the president used that data in the course of debates. Of course, we want that the issue of Ukraine was raised during debates among the candidates. The first debate will be on the 24th of September, and it is important to raise the issues of Ukraine while debating, because the issues of foreign policy, they are on the second place after internal issues. So our task, the task of our center, is to create impulses at the middle level of the campaigns, and we believe that the president will be able to meet Ms. Clinton, and we do not have such information whether he will be able to meet Donald Trump. So the administration should communicate directly with the next 45th president and try to promote position. And I know that Americans have their own problems, but there are many challenges, a lot of interests around the world. That's why it is important to defend national interests, and the head of state should do it, especially in the last weeks of the electoral campaign in the United States. Thank you very much. Now the question.
As concerns Manafort, he was a figure in the book of black accounts of the Party of Regions, whether and to what extent it can influence the results of U.S. elections. And the second, I will repeat that Manafort took the most responsible position during the campaign. This influenced the following way. Washington Post wrote about that. It is a pro-democratic newspaper. There was no further investigation. Yes, it influenced the ratings, and of course Trump reacted by dismissing his deputy, and if there was any investigation against Manafort, if the proceedings initiated, then the case would be quite other way. And the proofs and evidences that Manafort took some payment, some remuneration, it was not enough for initiating the corruption case against Manafort. More scandals will still take place, and we will discuss them here in the Ukraine Crisis Media Center. We are very thankful to the Ukraine Crisis Media Center for this platform, because you provide very high quality product in English. The more scandals we will see and hear in October, and many cases may be initiated against Manafort in October. Not so long ago, there was some video clip when Miss Hillary Clinton fell near her car. So what happened to her house, and whether some other candidate can replace her if her house is not very well. She lost consciousness or not. Maybe it was just tiredness, simple tiredness, and nothing serious, no pneumonia. As they say, they are just speculations. Trump also provided some information that he provided his medical certificate. His doctor said that he is absolutely well. I am sure that it was just tiredness, because she had continuous flights, movements from one place to another place, and many speeches every day. And the weather in Washington is very hot. So I think it was tiredness. There are no other evidences of her poor health. Of course, her opponents will use this case, this video. Well, yes, it would influence the ratings. We should not forget that we are talking about the commander of the strongest army in the world, which budget is triple time the triple-fold the budgets of any other countries, which goes beyond the US. So Americans would like to see a strong president, of course, in terms of her health as well. And the last question, you told that very soon presidential debates we will hear. There will be 3 rounds of them. How these debates may influence the American electors. The debates, they play a decisive role, or the crucial role they will play all those information which has been collected so far. It would be used there. Trump's relations with Russia, poor health of Hillary Clinton, as she is alleged, and all those information will be used by candidates against each other. I would like to remind you that in 2012, when some very promising candidate Mitt Romney from Republican Party, who was second after Barack Obama, and he was a winner in the 3rd round, changed the ratings because the scandal appeared that some person recorded his interaction when he told, let's gather our supporters who want the rich not to pay for the poor, and this argument became the decisive one just 1 week before the elections. Mr. Obama used this argument instead of saying, I will be the president for all Americans. Mitt Romney focused in technological terms on his own sector of electorate. And the Democrats used this information, and it played the bad joke with him, and Barack Obama became the president for the 2nd term. Thank you very much. We wish you every success. Thank you, dear audience.